A potential paradigm shift is brewing in the world of internet regulation, and it's a controversial one. The question on everyone's mind: could the United States be heading towards adopting European-style internet gatekeeping? And if so, what does that mean for our beloved free market principles? Representative Pramila Jayapal, a Democrat from Washington, has sparked a debate with her proposed legislation, the American Innovation and Choice Online Act. She sees it as a way to bring fairness and competition back to the digital marketplace, especially for consumers and small businesses. But here's where it gets controversial. This act bears a striking resemblance to the European Union's Digital Markets Act, which has raised concerns among free market advocates and tech industry leaders alike. The EU's Digital Markets Act targets what they call gatekeepers, essentially, companies whose platforms have become integral to our daily lives. Under this act, government regulators wield significant power over these tech giants and their business practices. For instance, companies are prohibited from self-preferencing, which means they can't favor their own products or services over others on their platforms. This was a response to the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, aimed at giving users more control over their data and transparency in how it's used. Now, imagine the impact of such regulations on American tech giants like Alphabet, Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft, who are among the 7 designated gatekeepers under the Digital Markets Act. These companies would face increased legal risks and limitations on their revenue growth, not to mention a potential slowdown in innovation. And this is the part most people miss. These laws have already had an immediate effect on American companies doing business in Europe, as noted by Jennifer Huddleston from the Cato Institute. Huddleston points out that compliance with these regulations has cost American companies millions of dollars, and while their engineers were busy with compliance, they weren't innovating. Some companies even opted out of the European market altogether, like the Los Angeles Times and Chicago Tribune, which are not generally available online in the EU. The Trump administration has made its opposition to such regulations clear, stating that they will scrutinize any attempts to dictate how American companies interact with European consumers. And yet, some members of Congress, like Jayapal, are advocating for a similar approach. The AICOA aims to prohibit large platforms from favoring their products or services, which critics argue harms competition. It would bar platforms from using default settings to promote their products and restrict the uninstallation of pre-installed software. Huddleston argues that this goes against America's traditional regulatory approach, which favors maximum freedom and tailored solutions to specific problems. She believes that giving companies the freedom to innovate brings unforeseen benefits. Another Democratic initiative, the Kids Online Safety Act, aims to protect children by blocking access to harmful content, prohibiting addictive algorithms, and limiting online communication with kids. However, this measure has faced criticism for potential infringements on free speech, degraded user experiences, and the additional costs it imposes on smaller companies, hindering innovation. For now, efforts to implement EU-style regulation in the United States have hit a roadblock. Most of the proposed legislation mirroring the EU's approach was introduced during the Biden administration, and the Trump administration has shown no interest in advancing it. Even if Democrats regain control of the House and Senate in 2026, their internet regulation agenda will likely face opposition from various quarters, including the tech industry and lawmakers concerned about limits on free speech. So, for the moment, it seems the US free market is prevailing over EU regulations on Capitol Hill. But the debate rages on, and the future of internet regulation remains uncertain. What are your thoughts? Do you think the US should adopt a more European approach to internet regulation, or should we stick to our free market principles? The floor is open for discussion.